April of 2020. One night I was getting ready for bed, and as I was just starting to climb into the sheets, I saw a colorful display of lights on my bedroom wall across from me. I watched as it looked like shapes morphing into animals' faces, and as these shapes swirled onto the walls, they went from 2D to 3D, transforming into what looked like the face of a lion cub. And as this face grew in size, it aged, floating towards me. Then that lion leaped into my auric field. That lion leaped into me. That same week, I woke up in the middle of the night to Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush, sitting on my bed next to me. Now, Neil had recently passed from a brain tumor. I was no stranger at this point in my life to seeing and hearing deceased loved ones. I have always been clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant, and clairvoyant. I called myself an indigo child. But I wasn't sure at this moment as to why he would be visiting me. Neil was wearing a military uniform with a hat on, but what stuck out to me the most was his glowing green necktie. I stretched out my arms and grabbed him by the tie, bringing Neil in to kiss him, and as I was pulling him in, I started bawling and asking, "Where have you been? Why did it take you so long to get here? Is it time?" While kissing him slowly, he dissipated. Like a mist, he then faded into the night. I fell back asleep. The next morning, I woke up, and it started out pretty much like every other day. I was cleaning my house and listening to music. I decided to put on some old music videos. The band Rush, to be exact. I couldn't get Neil out of my head since that encounter. I had started with the first album and worked my way through their entire catalog. As much as I loved the trio, this time I could not take my eyes off of Neil. As I watched an old video, Neil's precision and intention were in a way provocative. His piercing eyes, his swirling mustache, taking flight like a pair of wings. I was hypnotized. These were the early days when they wore kimonos and were just starting out. I kept staring into his eyes and I said out loud over and over, "My soul knows your soul." I went through all of their catalog. Then I came across Neil's drum solo from the Clockwork Angels tour. What was at first me swaying to the drums became dancing with a feverish priestess voodoo rhythm of stomping and swinging my hair around as if I was on a stage of my own. I was engulfed by spirit. I dropped to the floor, writhing in ecstasy, followed by visions of what felt like a snake running a course slithering up my back and hitting all of my chakras. My pelvic thrusting, and my root chakra felt as though it were a flame, a primordial flame, and the flames were rising. When it reached my third eye and crown, it was as if the universe opened up to me. I traversed these galaxies, dipping in and out of a lucid and cosmic-like trance, running the 8-track of infinity as the serpent chases its own tail. In this case, my tail. The vibrations rattled my thoughts, my entire being. I was now the Sophia dragon, creating life with every twist and turn of my existence. Speckles of dust swirling and forming into light orbs from the trail left by my tail. I continued soaring through the black, emitting light. I was breathing life into these orbs, with passion and fire, fueling these orbs with all of the elements. I was, as myself, a goddess, intermingled with the God of all creation. My universal womb, sacred and divine oneness. I reached my arms out into space, and like a star, I fragmented into tiny light shards and shot out everywhere. I felt a rumble in my body, like a volcano spewing lava. I started to scramble out of my socks and sweatpants, falling onto the couch in exhaust, only to slide down onto the floor. As I lay there making carpet angels, I saw flashes of scenes before me. The rhythm was frantic. Next came a bellow. It echoed from far off in the distance. This was more haunting in its gesture than I can even describe, begging for my attention, yet I was ignoring it. My spirit wanted to dance within the growing, glowing orbs. now in perfect synchronization with my soul, twirling in space. Then the bellows rang again. I lost my balance, teetering about. Whatever this is now demanding my attention, pounding deep and low, a rumbling. Are they horns? Perhaps a bass or drums? Definitely the lower octaves in feeling and vibration, beating, pounding, rattling my essence. What I now see before me is a cobra, slithering towards me, swerving this way and that, banging its tail on the fabric of space and time, rolling over itself as it draws near, coiling up while its hooded head peers down at my now tiny self. It then devoured me in one gulp, and we became one. My now hooded cobra head in the middle, as I transformed into a hydra. I looked to the left, several cobra heads appear. I looked to the right, the same. I opened my mouth to speak, and a forked tongue hisses, "See." A loud gong rang. The cobras on either side of me began to hiss their story, my history. Like the bell rings in a boxing match, it was fight time. I was swinging my arms like Shiva, telling my story through interpretive dance while talking to these new appendages on either side of my head. And as chaos does, chaos ensued. I would battle these heads, these very degrees of my personality. We fought battle after battle, and like the hydra, slay one head, two returned in its place. I was battling for what felt like an eternity, good versus evil in a sense. I finally had had enough, so I started spitting fireballs onto the severed necks, cauterizing them from regrowing until the only head left was mine, the center head. And with that, I curled up and ate myself like the caduceus. My vision went black. I'm in a void, an egg, alone. Where is my creation? All of my sparkles and orbs, my dragon body, my snake head, my passion and fire. I hear nothing. I sense nothing. I go to swing my tail around. There is nothing but black. I panic. I curled up and went fetal, floating and drifting in an ocean of nothingness. I roll, turn, and twist in a universal womb. And at perfect gestation, I was birthed in a palace with an open ceiling and cords strewn throughout, falling through the center portal of the many layers or floors to this palace. I am neither on the top floor of this palace nor the bottom, but what appears to be center from my perception. I reach out in front of myself, and I am amazed at my hands. They are trying to grab at silvery threads, cords, miles long. I reach for one, only to miss it the first few times as it swings out of my reach. On my next try, I clenched my fingers so tightly they dug into my hands. I then felt my weight appear heavy as I attached myself to the silvery satin-like cord. I struggled to climb this cord. I tightened it around my leg to dangle so I didn't wear myself out. And like the hangman in a tarot deck, I hung there for what felt like an eternity, swinging patiently for the right time when I could muster my strength to climb the silvery cord again. I turned upright and started my ascent. I see my creation ahead. Overwhelmed with excitement, I swing on this cord feverishly. As I climbed into the stars outside of this palace, swinging and climbing past the many moons and planets, clouds now impairing my vision.